Welcome back to the Urban Elements Studio. Today we're going to be talking about another aspect of the pantograph. And while I'm talking about pantographs, I'd like to mention that we do have a really wonderful catalog. The catalog has over 5,000 different designs in it. And the catalog is really great for highlighting some of your favorite designs. If you want to put those on a wish list, there is a wish list on the website. I also like to categorize my designs that I already have purchased, and you can color code those with different colors of highlighter markers for different themes like boys, girls, Christmas, Halloween, and so forth. I'm going to pull you in a little bit closer so you can see the details on this particular pantograph. It's called Spiky Spinners, and this one is by Jessica Schick. And this is going to be the aspect that we're going over today, is how to realign the quilt when you've already sewn one row and you need to roll the quilt up, how you get the quilt rolled up to the right place so that you have the exact spacing in between the rows that is needed. As I've mentioned in previous videos, our pantographs have a lot of information on them. This here on the end is just to let you know what the design is inside the package. It's a handy reference guide if you have a lot of the pantographs on the shelf. It tells you how high the design is. This is 8 inches high. All of the rows are 144 inches long. I've never cut any of mine off, just in case you ever upgrade to a longer table. It also has the designer, and this one is a single row, meaning it only has one pass and then you have to roll it up. Some of them have a double row, which means you get to sew across twice and then roll it up. All of the pantos have this echo at the top and bottom. That's just so that it doesn't matter which way you load the pantograph, you're still going to be able to advance the quilt without having any issue in realigning. So basically what will happen is you're going to sew one row of the panto, and then when you're finished, you're going to cut your thread, pull your needle up, and you're going to take the needle anywhere on the row that you've just sewn. It could be anywhere on the row closest to you. So I'm going to choose this point here. I would take the needle and drop it right into this point. I'm not going to pull the thread up because I'm not actually going to be sewing. I'm just anchoring the thread and the head into the quilt here. And then I'm going to release the locks on the rollers, and I'm going to advance the quilt. And as I advance the quilt in the back, the laser light and the head of the machine are going to be moving. And when the laser light gets to this point, it's the same spot on the echo, then you can go ahead and lock up the 2 clamps on your rollers and keep smoothing it out and tightening until you keep that laser light exactly on that spot. Then you know that you are exactly lined up for the next row. So you can go ahead and raise the needle on your machine, go back to your start point, and do your next row. So I'm going to go ahead, I've shown you on paper, I'm going to go ahead and show you on the actual quilt. I have my laser light shining up at the start of my first full row. My panto starts here. I'm going to be sewing left to right because that's how people read. They're very comfortable reading left to right, and most people are comfortable learning how to panto left to right. If you're not comfortable doing it that way, you could do right to left. And I don't normally do pantos anymore. I have a computerized system, so don't make fun of my free motion panto quilting. I've just finished this row, and we're going to just imagine that this is the top of the quilt and this is not here. So I've just finished my first row. I still have the thread here, so I'm going to go ahead and pull my thread up. Now I need to advance the quilt. So I'm standing up front. I'm going to choose one of these points, it doesn't matter which one, and I'm going to go over and drop the needle right on that point, whichever one I choose. Now all I'm doing is dropping the needle, I'm not pulling up the thread. So next I'm going to get my machine ready to advance. So I'm going to pull out my side tension and get the machine ready to roll up. So right now I've released the tension on both of my rollers, the take-up roller and the front roller here. The needle is down in that front point. Now I'm going to move the camera to the back so you can watch what happens as we roll the quilt. You can see the red dot is right here. This is the row that we just finished sewing. This is the point that I chose. My red dot is right here on the tip. And what I need to do is wait for that red dot to go in a straight line until it gets to the same point on the echo. When it gets to that echo point, I'm going to go ahead and stop advancing, and I'm going to tighten up my two rollers, but I want to make sure that even when I'm done adjusting, that red dot is right there in that tip. And as soon as it is, then I'm going to go ahead and pull my needle up and go back to my start position, and I'll know that there's the perfect amount of spacing in between the rows, and that's how you advance. So now I'm going to go ahead and roll the quilt. I'll have to remove one more clamp. Okay, here we are. We've got the dot right on the ghost, the echo of that design in the same point. So now I'm going to go ahead and put my clamp back in place and then do the same on the front. And as soon as I get that all straightened out, I'm ready to go back to my start point and start sewing another row. My front and back bar are tightened up. My red dot is right on the point of that echo of the design that we just previously sewed, so I can go ahead and raise the needle on the machine and come back to my start point, which is here, and I can go ahead and pull my thread up and start sewing the next row, and that will give me the perfect spacing for each row. And you just repeat this process until you finish the quilt. So that's how you get your even spacing in between rows. Now different pantos nest together differently, so some of them are going to disguise a little bit better than others. That's just the design of the panto. But it's funny that when you know something or you understand something, you think that everyone understands it. But that's the great thing about quilting. Everybody's coming in and learning at a different time. But I'm always really grateful for that. I'm glad there's always new people coming in and learning and starting the art form, because that means the art form will continue and it will go on into the next generation. So I'm really, really pleased with that aspect of it. A couple things I will say. I generally would never ever use a high contrast thread on a quilt like this. This is only for demonstration purposes. If this were a lower contrast thread, something that matched the fabric better, you wouldn't see the mistakes as much. But if you're going to practice on plain fabric. Don't put one of your quilts on to learn how to do something. If ever you're going to learn a new skill, put on a scrap fabric. Even if you want to buy several yards and make a long sandwich, and just put it on and off the quilt whenever you want to learn something new. Also, if this was a pieced quilt and a low contrast thread, again, any little flaws are not going to show up. But on a solid piece of fabric with high contrast thread, of course they're going to show up. I haven't done free motion panto work in several years because I have a computerized system. But this is the process for getting the roll-up spacing correct, and we get this question a lot. So I hope this answered the question. Thanks for joining us again here in the studio. I'm not sure what we'll be talking about next time, but I'm sure we'll be learning something. Again, take a look at the website or pick up a catalog and look at the designs. We have over 25 designers, and they're constantly adding new designs both to the website, and you can see those added on Facebook. I always like to have a catalog that I could look at and highlight some of the designs that I want to add to my collection or the ones that I already have. So catalog is a really great thing to have. But until next time, take care of yourself and take care of each other. Mm-hmm.